Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More spreadsheets suggest Degani founder George Pezaros' Greek restaurant ENA underpaid staff. Media player, space to play, enter mute, left and right to seek, 00:4400:44 documents obtained by the ABC appear to show widespread and systemic underpayment of staff at a restaurant owned by one of Australia's most successful food entrepreneurs. ENA Greek restaurant, opened in 2016 by the founder of the Degani cafe chain George Pezaros, kept detailed records suggesting that more than half of its employees were paid partly or completely in cash, and most at well below the adult award rate. One employee received just $16 per hour. If that worker was an adult, that's more than $8 an hour below the award rate. The documents cover the months of November and December 2017. One spreadsheet, named ENA South Bank Wages, clearly divides workers' hours between two columns, one marked cash, the other marked books'. Around a third of employees appear only in the cash column. An analysis of the spreadsheets conducted by hospitality union United Voice estimates the system could have allowed ENA's owners to pocket at least $75,000 a year in unpaid superannuation contributions, as well as income tax that should have been paid to the Australian Tax Office on behalf of their employees. The union also believes that if the restaurant was paying more than half its workers in cash, the restaurant's wage bill may have been brought low enough to avoid paying Victoria's payroll tax. The documentation is of a kind that we have never seen before, said Jess Walsh, United Voice's Victorian secretary. We are aware anecdotally that lots of restaurants and cafes do run two sets of books, but we have never seen it documented in this way. ENA is the latest in a series of Melbourne venues accused of underpaying staff and avoiding paying entitlements like superannuation, including View du Monde, founded by celebrity chef Shannon Bennett, Chin Chin, and Barry Cafe. All are now being investigated by the Fair Work Ombudsman. Underpayment is rife in hospitality industry. Union says it's been rampant forever as far as we can tell, said Anthea Leopold-Cedar, who owns the Labour in Vain bar in Fitzroy. Ms. Leopold-Cedar said owners who don't pay their staff properly make it harder for everyone in the industry. But the beautiful thing is, now it's coming to light. And I think it's quite ridiculous that people are still doing it and think they can get away with it. Jess Walsh said some employers have no fear of getting caught underpaying their staff. Underpayment is rife. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say it's in epidemic proportions, but what we are also seeing with the recent spate of high-profile establishments being outed as underpaying staff, is we're seeing young hospitality workers fight back. ENA opened in 2016 in a prime position in Melbourne's Southgate precinct, overlooking the Yarra River and surrounded by some of the best-known restaurants in the city. Centre management has confirmed the restaurant's owner is George Pezaros, although the ABC understands it is in the process of being sold to new owners, who have not yet settled. Former staff at ENA have also confirmed that Mr. Pezaros was involved in the day-to-day running of the business, but there is nothing on any public business register to connect George Pezaros to ENA Restaurant, or to Funky Food Group, the company that licenses the ENA brand. Funky Food Group's majority shareholder is a company called Nisi Investments Proprietary Limited, whose only two shareholders are Nikki and Sia Pezaros, who are believed to be George Pezaros' daughters. In a statement, Funky Food Group said it was not the business operator of ENA South Bank, and had no involvement in the day-to-day running of its licensees' businesses, including payment of staff. The company also licenses a coffee kiosk at the ABC South Bank Centre in Melbourne. The company confirmed that it employs George Pezaros as a leasing agent. George Pezaros did not respond to questions from the ABC. ENA opened about the time Mr. Pezaros appears to have severed his connection with Degani Australia, months before the franchise chain came under scrutiny from the Fair Work Ombudsman, which had received reports some Degani cafes were underpaying staff. 14 Degani outlets in Victoria and Queensland were audited in 2016. 2 were found to have underpaid staff by more than $10,000, in one case, using fake records to cover up the underpayments. George Pezaros is a significant player in the Victorian hospitality industry, said Jess Walsh. We are probably just scratching the surface of what's going on in Victorian hospitality. What is striking about the ENA wage spreadsheets is how clearly they document payments that appear to breach the law. The most stunning figures are found in the column marked cash'. While some staff are paid at very low rates, well below the adult award, there are some notable exceptions. One employee listed as a chef appears to have been paid $1,800 a week, all in cash, suggesting his entire employment was off the books'. Another employee is noted as receiving a cash payment of $907 to supplement his on-the-books wage of $400. On the spreadsheet, it appears as a single hour of work, at a rate of $907 per hour. The documents also point to possible abuse of the student visa rules. 11 staff have a note next to their names saying max 20 hours on the books, with the remainder of their hours spilling over onto the cash column. We know that there are international students who can only work 20 hours a week, working at ENA, said Jess Walsh. Visa restrictions on foreign students stipulate that they can only work 20 hours per week. She says United Voice has also been approached by employees complaining of being underpaid at Billy Group outlets, which are also licensed by Funky Food Group. It's been a month of reckoning for the Melbourne hospitality industry. But it's hardly new. Hospitality workers make up 7.2% of the labour market, but account for nearly 40% of anonymous tip-offs to the Fair Work Ombudsman. On Monday, United Voice launched a new digital union for hospitality workers, Hospo Voice, which offers online tools for employees to check their rates of pay, record hours, and report harassment. Jess Walsh said the Victorian government should introduce criminal penalties for employers who underpay their staff. Employers in this industry have got away with murder because they know this industry is so young, transient and hard to organize. But the internet changed the game. This year, the federal government committed almost $320 million to assist the ATO in a crackdown on the cash economy, and is establishing a dobbing hotline. Ombudsman Natalie James told ABC Radio Melbourne her office had received enough intelligence to sketch a map of non-compliant restaurants and cafes in Melbourne. There are 40 or 50 names so far, and all the dotted lines mapping the relationships between them tells us that there are some operators who are involved in a number of cafes, she said. And if one is underpaying, then one has to assume that others are as well, and so we need to be very targeted in our enforcement effort. There are 20 million businesses in this country, and we can't storm the castle of all of them, and nor should we have to. But right now, when it comes to restaurants, cafes and fast food, it does seem we do have to. Print, email, Facebook, Twitter.